This is an exercise in learning how to unlock or open yourself to hidden parts of your own self, giving you access to the unconscious mind, the part that you're not fully conscious of. This is an exercise and not a lecture. So you will need on hand a piece of paper and a pen or pencil. I'm going to guide you through a guided meditation and ask you a series of questions. I want you to answer the questions with the first response that comes up. It would be better if you wrote this out longhand so the computer does not get in the way or draw you in. During this time, please turn off your phone. This does not mean set to vibrate. Please turn off your phone. I'm going to ask you a series of questions to attempt to give you unfiltered access to your own unconscious mind. In order to bypass the inner critic, I want you to write down your first response. In order to bypass the inner critic, I want you to write down your first response. In order to do that, you will need to still your mind between each question so that any inner chatter won't get in the way. This is an exercise in allowing the unconscious mind to come forward without the inner critic shutting you down. This is an exercise in allowing the unconscious mind to come forward. For this reason, I want you to honor your first response. After this first session is over, you can go back on your own and on another sheet of paper, invite the inner critic to come in and give another opinion, another voice, to finish or refine or correct what you've written. But I want you to honor that first response and not erase it and not change it. If you make a change, do it on a separate piece of paper so you have the original first response. One of the reasons for this is to overcome or bypass your own conditioning. We each have conditioning that tells us what's right, what's wrong, what we believe, what we feel. And it's a composite of all the things people have told us that's how we should be. That's how we are. But it takes a bit of courage and a bit of discipline. But I want you to honor your first response. We are going to focus on the hidden parts of yourself. In order to hear the voice of the unconscious, you will need to shut down the rational, logical, and intellectual voice. After this is over, you can go through and refine the questions and work with the questions. But be careful that the rational, logical, reasonable side of yourself doesn't hijack what you've written and change it and cover up this other part of yourself. Accept both responses, but keep the first response on a separate sheet of paper to honor it. I would like you to allow surprises to arise without immediately discarding them. It takes a bit of discipline and courage to do this. Allow surprises to arise without discarding them. It is important to write down your first response, even if it says something surprising, especially if it says something surprising. We're going to start this with a guided meditation to attempt to clear the mind. Do this exercise at a time when you will not be disturbed. Make sure all the electronic devices are turned off and you are alone. Make sure all the pets are out of the room. You can pause this at any time if you need more time. So we're going to do a short guided meditation. Set in such a way that you are supporting your own body. Please don't lay down or you will fall asleep. Support your own body, your head, neck, and trunk in a straight line, and your hands and arms resting wherever you feel comfortable, on the armchair, on your lap, on the table, whatever feels right to you. To begin with, gently close your eyes. Let your feet be flat on the floor if possible. And take a quick inventory of how your body feels. Not putting it into words, just feeling how your body feels. Now be aware of the room itself. Any sounds from outside the room or inside the room. Notice the temperature of the air on your face and hands. Notice any odors in the room. Now during this time, make a commitment to yourself to give yourself a break and put aside all the memories about the past, whether it's from last month, last week, or even earlier today. Set it all aside. You can come back and ponder this as much as you want, but right for now, just set it aside. Now address that part of yourself that has worries or anxieties about the future. Anything to do with planning, scheduling, things you're looking ahead to or full of expectations about. Just set all those future thoughts aside. You can spend as much time as you want in the future time. But right for now, just respect this little exercise you're doing to explore hidden parts of yourself and set all of that aside. Now, for some of you, this next part will be the hardest. Set aside the internal dialogue, the talking to yourself that we label as thinking, the figuring things out, the processing, the working things out, the planning, figuring, thinking. Just let go of all this head stuff and be in your own body. It's not difficult. Just be in your own body. Now turn your attention to your whole body, and during this time, allow yourself to drift wherever my voice takes you. And begin by focusing your attention on your forehead. Relax all the small muscles in your forehead. Relax your brain and your brain center. Relax your eyes. Let a feeling of warmth and relaxation go into your eyes and eye sockets. Relax your cheeks, your jaw, and the corners of your mouth. Relax your neck. If you need to move around your neck in order to unlock some of the tension in your neck, you can do so. You can twist it or turn it any way you want. And try to see if you can get any knots of tension to loosen up in your neck. And do the same thing with your shoulders. You can move your shoulders around if you need to. Rotate them, stretch in any way you need to unlock any tense areas of your body. And then let your neck relax completely. Let your shoulders rest completely on the frame of your body. Relax your upper arms. Relax your lower arms. Relax your wrists, hands, fingers, and fingertips. Relax your thumbs, your index fingers. Stay in your body. Stay with my voice. If you're off daydreaming or thinking, just bring yourself back. Stay with my voice. Relax your middle finger. Relax your ring finger. Relax your smallest finger. Relax your hand. Let your hand and your arm relax wherever is comfortable, and allow your hands and arms to be totally limp. Be aware now. Shift your awareness into your torso and be aware of the mechanics of your own breathing. The movement of your rib cage as you breathe. The expansion and contraction of your chest. That feeling of having your breath fill your lungs and having your breath expelled from your lungs. It comes with this sensation. See if you can feel it in your own body. Relax the area around your heart. Relax your stomach, your abdominal area, your thighs, calves, ankles, feet, and toes. Come into your body and relax your legs. Feel your legs from the inside of your body. Now, using the power of your imagination, imagine that you're inhaling all the way down to the tips of your fingers and your toes, and you're exhaling completely. As you inhale, feel the fresh infusion of energy, vitality, oxygen into your lungs and body. As you exhale, exhale not only the stale air, but also any sense of negativity, sadness, anger, depression, anything at all that's in the way. And allow yourself to just be totally cleansed of all this other stuff. Expelling it with your exhalation and filling your body with fresh vitality as you inhale. Now focus your attention on the smoothness, the flow of your breath. And try to eliminate any pauses or hesitations in your breath. Now as you do this, you'll notice that you come to an end of a breath, end of an inhalation or an exhalation. So of course you have to slow down the breath. But try to make the transition between one breath and the next as smooth as possible. And anytime your mind goes back into thinking, talking to yourself, internal dialogue, just come back to your breath, come back to let your body relax. Come back to my voice. Come back to this present moment. And no matter how many times it takes, just bring yourself back. Now I want you to still your mind as still as possible so you can sense something arising within your own self. And when I ask you a question, you're going to feel a response. When you feel a response, honor it. That first response, honor it and write it down. So still yourself. And here's the first question. What was your favorite Halloween costume? Now take a piece of paper and write it down. Whatever came up. What was the first thing that came up? We'll go back and refine these answers later. After you've written down your first response, just come back to smooth your breath. Come back to quiet, making your mind really quiet so you can sense what is arising in this mysterious unconscious part of yourself. Now make your mind very still and listen to your first response. What was your favorite thing you liked to pretend to be when you were a child? It could be a role or anything. What did you like to pretend to be as a child? Write down your first response. Now that you've written it down, just put down the pen, put down the paper, close your eyes. Come back and still your mind. Just let yourself be guided through this without fighting it or arguing with it or figuring it out or analyzing it or criticizing it. Just let go of all of that and just quiet your mind and wait for the next first response. And once your mind is quiet, here's the next question. What kind of TV shows or movies did you feel drawn to as a child? Write it down. Write down your first response. And if you need a little extra time, you can pause. After you've written it down, just once again put down the pen or paper, close your eyes. Come back in contact with your breath. Let your breath become smooth again. All the chatter that would normally arise, just try to keep it tamped down for now. We're going to try to do something different. So just still your mind. Get ready for the first response. Do you have any birthmarks? If so, where are they on your body? Write that down. If you need more time, you can pause it. Put down your pen and paper. Close your eyes. Get in contact with your breath again. Now just still your mind. Make it very quiet. Besides your current name, what is another name that you could have been named and you would find attractive? Write that down. Now, once again, still your mind, close your eyes, come back to your body, come back to your breath. Try to keep your mind still. We're trying to use the mind in a different way, just as a sensing device, to sense the sort of vapors of the unconscious arising. So just still yourself, become very, very quiet. Is there an animal you like or feel attracted to as a child? And write that down. And if you need more time, you can pause it. Now, once again, put down the pen or paper, close your eyes, still your mind. We're using the mind as a sensing device instead of a thinking device. So just be okay with this, using your mind in a different way. Make your breath smooth. Relax your body. Just be relaxed and quiet. Now make your mind very quiet so you can hear what happens inside. Besides the United States, what country do you love? And write that down, whatever your first response is. If you need more time, you can pause it like always. Put down your pen and paper. Quiet your mind. Take a moment to take a few breaths, because this can create a little bit of a strain if you're not used to use your mind as a sensing device. And it takes a little while to get used to, just using it as a sensing device instead of a thinking device. Now just get back in touch with your breath. Relax any parts of your body. If you feel resistance, that would be natural. Just try to be patient with any resistance you feel. Just like anytime you do something different, there's some natural resistance. You want to go back to the way you're used to, but we're just trying to exercise, do something a little different today. So, still your mind, let it become very quiet. Besides English, what language do you find attractive? Write it down. If you need more time, you can pause. Put down your pen and paper. Quiet yourself. Take a few deep breaths. Breathe all the way down to the tips of your fingers and your toes. Exhale completely, smoothly and evenly. Now this one I'd like you to be especially quiet so you can really feel into this answer, allowing it to spontaneously arise. And if something surprises arising, it's okay. We're just exploring someplace new. So whenever you explore someplace new, new things are going to happen. So just be okay with that. So once again, still your breath, quiet your mind. What is a skill, talent, or gift that you felt like you were born with? What is a skill, talent, or gift that you feel like you were born with? Write this down. This one is an important one. What is a skill, talent, or gift that you felt like you were born with? Now let's just automatically quiet our minds down after you finish writing. If you need more time, you can pause it. Okay, the next one, quieting your mind. Do you have any fears or phobia that seem irrational and arose when you were a child? Do you have any fears or phobia that seem irrational and arose when you were a child? Write that down. We're going to speed things up a little bit, so let's quiet your mind. Be very still. Is there a time in history that you feel attracted to besides this present moment? Is there a time in history that you feel attracted to, especially as a child? Write that down. Quiet your mind. If you need more time, pause it. As a child, or in your imagination, Is there a way of dress from some other time period that you felt would be fun to dress up in? If you were going to do dress up, what would you dress up as? What historical period would that be from? Write that down. Quiet your mind. Is there a name of a partner you would find attractive? Regardless of what the name of your partner is, if you have a partner. What would be an attractive name for a partner for you? Just using your imagination, allowing whatever naturally arises to arise. Now I'd like you to access some deeper part of yourself, some quieter, deeper part of yourself. And for this, I need to ask you to just really let go of any need to inhibit, criticize, critique, process, intellectualize, and just really get in touch with some deep part of yourself. And here's the question. Still your mind. Here's the question. Have you ever had a dream that felt like a memory or was so lifelike it felt like it really happened? Have you ever had a dream that felt lifelike and write that down if you have. And you can pause it because this might be a longer piece. And when you finish your writing, just quiet your mind. Try to let it be blank, a receiver instead of a transmitter, receiving whatever arises. And quiet your mind. And go with your first response. Have you ever met a person that you felt so comfortable with right from the beginning or soon after the beginning? Have you ever met a person that you felt so comfortable with right from the beginning or soon after? Go with your first response. Write down the name of that person. When you're finished, just take another deep breath. We're getting towards the end. Do some stretching, flexing. Try to keep yourself relaxed and open-minded. Quiet your mind. Is there a role that you feel comes natural to you? A teacher, a monk, a scientist, a poet, an athlete, a cook, a carpenter, some examples. Write that down. If anything, whether you actually did this or not, it might have felt natural to you as a child or as a young person. Perhaps you felt pulled in that direction, but maybe a parent convinced you not to do that. But it's something that you really wanted to do, regardless of whether or not you did it. Okay, now we're going to go a bit deeper still. In this one, I want you to pay special attention to your first response. So you'll need to really quiet your mind down. And just feel, it might come up as a sensation in the body, or an image, or a flash, or a sensation. So write down whatever arises, whether or not it makes sense. So if you see an image, write it down. If you have a sensation in your body, write it down. If you hear a sound, write it down. If a word or phrase comes up, that's okay. Write it down. So set aside all your beliefs, all your convictions, all your conditioning, all your training, all the things people told you that this is how you are and this is how you should be. And just allow yourself to be yourself. And allow yourself to listen to this hidden part of yourself, stilling your mind. If you were to guess at a possible past life, what would you guess it would be? If you were to guess at a possible past life, what would you guess it would be? Write it down, your first response. Try not to let the inner critic stop you. Moving on a little quicker. Find one person that's in your current life that if you were to guess, you might guess you had some kind of past life experience with them. Without engaging your belief system or your inner critic, write that down. Quieten your mind. Do you feel you may have once been a different gender or a different species? No matter what comes up, write it down. Now the last question. If you discovered through dreams that you had a past life, would this challenge your belief system or upset other people in your life? And write down an honest answer. When you finish writing, just set everything down and just keep your eyes open. Here's my suggestion. This is only the beginning, as you might imagine. You might give yourself a break, but come back to this sheet without changing it, without leaving the original answers as they are, and connect some of the dots in your answers that feel right. See if there's a pattern in the answers you gave me. That's the first part. So connect some of the dots in your answers that feel like they're connected somehow. It might be a person who's connected to a skill you knew, who's connected with a memory you might have had that felt, a dream that you had that felt real. I mean, that's one example. Now, using all these answers, being as creative as possible, create a story of a possible past life using some of the clues that these questions gave you. Create a story of a possible past life using some of the clues that these answers to these questions gave you. But here's something that's important. I want you to write it as if it's fiction, so you won't run into the inner critic or stop yourself from exploring something that you feel is taboo or is a challenge to your belief system. So write it as fiction so you can write freely without inhibiting yourself or having some kind of hissy fit with the inner critic. So that's the whole process from start to finish. Obviously, I would suggest you spend more time just contemplating this. At night, be open to dreams that might lead you. Invite dreams to lead you. And if you feel like contacting me about this exercise, I will leave my email in the description below.